Welcome to the Multiply Yourself podcast with Adam Madison. Join the conversation at www.adammadison.com.
Hi, and welcome to the Multiply Yourself podcast. In this episode, I wanted to share with you 3 thoughts that I had on how to lose your virtual assistant. And by lose, I mean create a situation where they no longer want to work for you. Now, I've been working with virtual assistants and remote teams for many years now, and I will be honest, I have made most of the mistakes that I'm about to share with you many times. And I have been in a situation where I have had virtual assistants and remote workers wish to cease being employed by me, particularly for these 3 reasons that I want to talk to you about today. So I thought it would be really good for me to share these lessons that I had to learn the hard way with you guys so that hopefully you can benefit from them and not have to make some of the same mistakes that I have. But these 3 reasons these 3 things are the reasons why I have found that morale can deteriorate with your virtual team and your remote team rather. And so let's try and avoid these 3 things. Number 1, poor communication. Whenever I have the opportunity to talk about the strengths of my team and why I believe it works well, the answer that I always give is effective communication. And it's a challenge that we have when we're working remotely and in virtual environments with each other, that communication is a challenge. How do we communicate effectively? How do we communicate emotion when we're just using instant messages or emails and things like that? But I have found that poor communication is a great way to really have your team and even individuals become offside to you. And ultimately, in the end, if it is something that continues, then it will result in them wanting to cease employment with you. So, of course, the alternative is to ensure that you are always communicating well, keeping them well informed of any changes that are happening. If there's any delays or issues with work or salaries or anything like that, be upfront. Continue to keep them well updated on what's happening with your business and with your team. If you need to disappear for a few days, make sure they know. Communicate really well with them. I like to ensure that I always put something in writing via an email and then follow that up with a chat as well, just so I know that that it's been received and also that I can check understanding, particularly if you're working with remote teams who are from countries where English isn't their first language. It always pays to check to ensure that what you have communicated with them is also understood. Number 2, the second thing that can help you to lose a virtual assistant is ensuring that they feel undervalued. Now, something that I can often fall into the trap of in this area is to, and as funny as it sounds, is to not give my remote team enough work or even enough challenging work. You know, some cultures are different, and the honest truth is, in my culture in Australia, you know, there are a lot of people who would actually enjoy not having a busy work schedule. But that's not always the case. A lot of people in other countries and other cultures, and of course in Australia as well, like to work hard. We like to be busy. We like to be challenged. And I have found in the past in working with some of my team that if I'm not challenging them, if I'm not keeping their schedule full and busy, that they can actually begin to feel undervalued. They wanted to be challenged. They wanted to be working hard and feeling like they're doing a great job. And when I left them feeling undervalued, that began them to start thinking about looking for work elsewhere. And I have lost a team member in the past for that. They wanted to be busier, they wanted to be challenged, and they went off and found a job that could do that for them. And number 3, and this is a big one, not delivering on your promises. And this has probably been the greatest mistake that I have made and probably will continue to make. And that's promising something and not delivering on it, whether it was my own kind of fault for forgetting or not sticking to it, or whether I was just overpromised and was not able to deliver. But honesty and communication is so important when you're working virtually with other staff members and team members. But making sure that you deliver on your promises is absolutely critical. Don't promise something if you can't deliver on it. Don't promise something unless you're 100% sure that you are doing it. And what's worse than not delivering on the promise at the particular date or whatever it might be is not communicating with them, which, takes us back to our first point of poor communication. If you can't deliver something, even communicate, check understanding, and make sure that whatever you're promising is something that you can do. So in my experience, they have been the 3 mistakes that I have made far too many times that in some cases have caused me to lose a virtual assistant to another employer. And they are poor communication, leaving them feeling undervalued, and not delivering on the promises that I made. I'd love to hear any mistakes that you've learned, or rather things that hindsight have taught you. So please head over to the blog at adammadison.com, leave a comment or send me an email, and I'd love to hear from you.
Thank you for listening. Subscribe for more content at www.adammadison.com.